What's going on, guys? This is your boy Maliga. Today it's going to be a little bit more of a chill video. It's mainly because I wanted to do this for a very long time. I wanted to do a questions and answers video, and I wanted to kind of address some of the things that are kind of obvious on the channel. So I'm going to start off with the changes that you see, and a lot of them, it's just a lot of them are life changes. So if you guys don't know this already by now or haven't noticed, I'm no longer living in the house that I was living in. I'm currently living in an apartment in downtown Maryland, and with that being said, it did change a lot of things, especially when it comes to my cars. I had to make some sacrifices. I've had to do a lot of things that, you know, isn't something that will really benefit the channel. With that being said, that kind of segues into my next big thing, which is the thumbnail of this video, because obviously I want my subscribers and everybody to click on it so they can pay attention, and that is Clementine. Now, I've said this many times in the past, but I feel like the message still hasn't gone through. A lot of people seem to misunderstand and think that the channel is all about Hondas, it's all about Clementine, and I'm gonna build Clementine into some stupid fast race car. That was never the point. The point of that car was to be a fun street car, and it's already there. I've already gotten it to that point. Now that car is just a very big sentimental part of my life. It isn't a car that I'm going to sell at any point. I'm going to keep it until it falls apart, mainly because I have you guys to thank for that, and that's where the misunderstanding happens. So if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't for YouTube, I'd be completely straightforward with you guys, that car would be gone. My original plan was to trade it in and get a Type R, and I was really close to doing that. I was this close, but I decided not to because that car meant a lot, and I knew that a lot of you guys would be upset if I got rid of my flagship car. But now, it's starting to become more of a nuisance and more of an aggravation than anything when I see on my comment section on my videos, and when I see DMs and all this other stuff talking about how I just neglected the car. By no means have I neglected Clementine at all. It's just I got bored of the car. I'm going to be straightforward. I'm going to be honest. A lot of people say that I should modify it, and you guys also need to understand something. The K24 Z7 platform is not a great platform to build when it comes to power. The chassis is terrible, and the engine itself, you need at least $10,000 in order to make that car make anything above 300 horsepower, not to mention the transmission is literally the weakest piece of crap I probably ever witnessed in my life. I've had more friends break Z7 transmissions more than anything in the world. Kind of fiddled with the idea of supercharging it. That's just never going to happen. Mainly because even though supercharging theoretically would be fun, I would be unbalancing the car. The car is so balanced as it stands right now. It feels like a go-kart. That's what makes it so fun when I bring it to autocross and when I bring it to track events. It's because I can literally push the car to its absolute limit, and it wouldn't be something that would be to my limit, for example. I've said this also again, that if I'm gonna spend $10,000 on Clementine and make it make sub 300 horsepower, I would much rather do that on my Skyline. If I had $10,000 to spend on my Skyline, I can guarantee you I'd make double the power, and it would be a much more fun car, and then I would welcome in many different viewers from many different parts of the car community. And honestly, that was always my intention. There's always people who, for example, Adam LZ, he doesn't make videos on his Cream S13 anymore. There's always gonna be YouTubers who move on from the thing that brought them there in the first place, and that's one thing I have to kind of keep bashing into you guys' minds, is that even though Clementine is always going to be here, it's always going to be part of the channel, it's always going to be part of who I am, it most certainly isn't a car that I'm going to continue to build upon when I've almost checked every single box that I could with the car, personally. So please, I mean, if you want to unsubscribe because of that, that's fine. I'm here to please loyal subscribers. I'm here to please newer viewers. I'm here to please anybody who's willing to watch me for who I am as a person and not what I own. So that leads into kind of like my next subject, and I'm kind of going to go down the list of different cars that I've owned. Obviously you guys know that my gray Passat I built a long time ago is no longer with us. I sold that car. It was my daily driver. I do not have it anymore. It is such a relief that I don't have it anymore. That car was more problems than anything, and it was also starting to leak water inside of it. So I couldn't stick with a car like that. I gave it away to an enthusiast for a chunk of change, and that leads me to my next vehicle that I purchased, which is Maryland. If you don't know or haven't been keeping up with the channel, Maryland is my new daily driver. It is a W8 Passat, and that car was a bucket list car back when I built the gray Passat, and that car is awesome. I love it. It's such a comfortable car, makes all the right noises, and it's a great daily driver for what it is. I cannot complain. That moves on to my next point, which is my Nissan Skyline. I have a love-hate relationship with that car because it's been breaking so much. And that's something that I mentioned in my 10 things I hate about the car. The car is very temperamental. So recently I've had a problem where I had an injector go down and it wasn't firing at all. So the car was down a cylinder. Now this kind of puts a big question mark in my head because the car has never felt right since. Even though I replaced it with another injector that was readily available, the car did run on all 6, but it has never run like it did before. This leads me to believe that I possibly could have damaged the engine. It still pulls strong, still, you know, makes the right noises. It's just when the car is standing still, it misfires a lot, and you could see on the AFR that it goes lean when it misfires, which means that it's not a spark or ignition issue, it's a fuel issue. So that leads me to believe that I have multiple injectors going out, or I just have a problem with the injectors. So it kind of upsets me because now if I'm going to be doing any kind of fuel system work, I'm probably going to be upgrading the entire fuel system. And obviously that's just not in the cards. If I'm going to do something as extensive as that, I might as well do a whole build. And that, unfortunately, the finances just are not available for something like that. So unfortunately, that's just where the car stands right now. It is a fun car. It's a classic car. I still drive it. Like, for example, this morning I took it out to do a post office run for my current business that I'm building up. So that's fun. But other than that, guys, I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all I can update with. That's all I can update you guys on in terms of the cars. Now we got that out of the way, let's get down to the questions. I posted something on my Instagram. By the way, if you're not intertwined with Instagram, I highly suggest that you get hip, because a lot of the stuff that I do is on my Instagram. So if you want to keep up to date on cars and things like that, I highly suggest you go down there and check it out. So let's get down to the first question, which comes from Gaijin_Evo2. He says, best and worst parts about owning a right-hand drive car. I kind of listed a lot of the negative things about owning a right-hand drive car in my previous video. The best part about driving a right-hand drive car is that it's different. It's definitely something that puts a smile on people's faces, puts a smile on my face. It's definitely something that I've always wanted to own. So the first time I ever drove a right-hand drive car, I fell in love with it. It's different. The worst things about owning a right-hand drive car is it was cool at first, but now it just gets annoying. So like, people would like tell you, oh, you're on the wrong side of the car, blah blah blah. I hate that. It's so cringy. People always want to walk up and talk to you at gas stations, and there are some days where I'm just so tired and I'm just trying to, you know, I'm just trying to do errands, right, in my cool car to kind of wake me up. And somebody will come and kind of interrupt that space. Now that's just something that us locals here have as kind of like it's like a culture thing. So we here, people here in DC, they have this mindset of, I'm going to do this, this, and this today, and if anything interrupts it, it sets your whole day off. So that is 100% true. The second thing that I find really bad about driving a right-hand drive car is turning left and turning right. I mentioned this before in the last video, but the blind spots and the aerobics you have to do to kind of see where you're going, that kind of sucks sometimes. Not to mention the fact that either you go backwards through a drive-thru or you're reaching over to grab your stuff. So now, I don't know if this is a troll question or not. I'm gonna assume it is. It's my boy STR8 Cannon. He owns an R32 GTR. make stupid power. By the way, my friend, if this is a troll question, then all I have to say is you have the wrong paint color, my friend. I have the true KH2, but he asked, do you have a GTR? No, I don't. My old coworker, the official Soma, he asks, how much in total did you spend in aftermarket parts for all of your cars? This is a great question, because if I literally could sit down and tally up everything, maybe 10 to 15. My boy, Ambush Drift, he asks, Florida plans. This is something I haven't really mentioned on the channel publicly, because every time I do, plans kind of get side railed, but for right now, things are actually looking pretty good. Because I recently quit my job and I'm back into the airline industry, which is something that a lot of my loyal subscribers will know. A long time ago, I was actually in the airline industry, so now that I'm back, it makes this very, very possible. So there is a lot of plans to be made, actually. So, but if I'm gonna be going into any specifics, my goal is to move to Orlando. My sister lives in Cocoa, and she loves it. Even though the weather is absolutely terrible right now with the whole heat wave and stuff, she says that it's the best thing ever. The traffic does suck, but I mean, here in DC the traffic is probably just as bad, so it's not something that I'm really worried about. With that being said, I mean, plans for Florida, go down to Orlando, get an apartment / house, you know what I'm saying, build my business down there. I know that in Florida it's a little bit easier to run a business, and catch up with you, man. It's been a while since we've seen each other. You came and visited me, and I know that, Alan, I know that you're the type of person that I really want to associate myself with when I come down there, because I know that you'll kind of introduce me to the whole scene and stuff, and I know you live closer to Jacksonville, and Orlando's not really in the area. But you know, when we do link up, I think that when I do move down there, it would be great to kind of get a warm welcome, and I know that that's something that you'll give me. So I do appreciate, you know, your support, especially being a YouTuber yourself. It means a lot to me to see that a YouTuber that I watched, you know, for a really long time supports me as well. So thank you for that. Kaylee.cars, and this probably is my last question. It is. Kaylee.cars asks, would you ever own a Datsun, and if so, which one, and how would you build it? So, Kaylee, you already know the answer to this question. When we met back in the Dumfries car meet, you had a 240Z. That is the #1 classic Datsun car I would own if I could own one. It's just that right now, if they're just way too expensive and way too rare. I think that if I'm going to be spending over $20,000 on a car that old, I'm probably going to spend it on an American classic, to be completely honest with everybody. Because, and the main reason I say this is because a lot of people who own Datsun 240Zs will engine swap them, and I'll probably put an RB in mine and make stupid horsepower. So, and obviously I'd make like a Wangan Midnight Devil Z replica, because that is my favorite car from my childhood. So that kind of answers your question. It'll definitely be a Datsun 240Z with an RB swapped in it. I know it's a lot of work and it's very expensive, but if I did have the funds in a limited time, that is definitely something I'm going to do. So anyways, guys, I hope this clears up everything. I hope this answers any of y'all's questions. And if you guys have any more questions to ask me, then please head over to my Instagram and DM me. I'm more than happy to answer. I'm kind of trying to do this Q&A thing kind of more often. I feel like it would get me really connected with my subscribers and supporters a lot more. So just please drop it down in the comments and let me know if you like stuff like this. I was also a guest on a podcast of one of my really good friends. That podcast will be available on this Saturday or this Sunday. I will keep you guys updated on that. I'm going to be posting it on my community tab and on my Instagram. So if you're interested, then let me know. That is something that I also kind of want to get into, is podcasting, because it's when I did my first episode, even as a guest speaker, it truly is a lot of fun to do. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. It's your boy Got Maliga, and I'm out.